Hello and welcome to ProTalks by Elevate, and this is me, Anne Benjamin. Today on our episode, we have Rahul Mamman, who's the founder of Haeal. Rahul, welcome to ProTalks.
Yeah, hi. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. And the first question to you is: you come from a family of pharmaceutical distribution. You've done your, studies in IIM Ahmedabad. Then you've done your internship in Goldman Sachs, Hong Kong. What made you reach to a point where you started Heal?
Okay, that's an
It's a
interesting.
very long story,
It's an
I know.
interesting question and it's a little long, but so we had this pharmacy in Cochin called MG Medicals, and that's where I kind of grew up. Then MBA പഠിച്ചിട്ട് I wanted to start a retail chain. That's how I came back to Cochin rather than spend time abroad. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ വന്നപ്പം I thought I'll start a retail chain, but that did not happen
Okay.
because of it being too complicated. So we started pharma distribution, and from there we kept expanding. അപ്പോൾ ഈ കോവിഡ് വന്നപ്പം നമ്മൾ വിചാരിച്ചു സാനിറ്റൈസർ നമുക്ക് പല പേരുടെ ബ്രാൻഡ് വിൽക്കാമല്ലോ. സോ 2020 ജാൻ ഫെബിലൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ കുറേ സാനിറ്റൈസർ പല ബ്രാൻഡും വിറ്റു. നമ്മുടെ അല്ല, വേറെ ആൾക്കാരുടെ ബ്രാൻഡ്. അപ്പം 3Mൻ്റെയും അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ വി ആർ വെരി ഫാസ്റ്റ് ആൻഡ് വി ടുക്ക് സം റിസ്ക്. അതുകൊണ്ട് കുറേ വിൽക്കാൻ പറ്റി. അപ്പം ഈ കോവിഡിൻ്റെ ലോക്ക്ഡൗൺ വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ വിചാരിച്ചു നമ്മുടെ ഹീൽ എന്നുള്ള പേരിൽ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കുറച്ച് മെഡിസിൻ ബ്രാൻഡുകളും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. വൈ നോട്ട് ലോഞ്ച് സാനിറ്റൈസേഴ്സ്? So it was meant to be an, this I've said in many other platforms, it was meant to be an opportunistic play. It was not meant to be a brand.
Okay.
We were ഒരു കുറച്ച് നാളത്തേക്ക് വിൽക്കാം, അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും നമ്മുടെ പേരിൽ വിൽക്കണമല്ലോ എന്ന് വെച്ച് നമ്മൾ വിറ്റതാണ്.
Okay.
But then once you start selling, when some opportunity is presented, then we look at other ways to make it work, right? We are also, it is, I would call it accidental, but it's also because a lot of things we did. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെ വന്ന് ഞങ്ങളൊരു സാനിറ്റൈസർ ബ്രാൻഡ് വെറുതെ തുടങ്ങി പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ കുറേ വിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. കേരളത്തിൽ കുറേ നാളിടും ഈ കോവിഡിൻ്റെ പേടി നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. സാനിറ്റൈസർ എല്ലാവരും കെയർഫുള്ളും ആണല്ലോ ഒരു സാനിറ്റൈസറിൻ്റെ ഇതുള്ളതുകൊണ്ട്. അപ്പം ദെൻ വി ഗോട്ട് ഇൻ ടു ബ്രാൻഡിങ് ഫോർ കേരള ബ്ലാസ്റ്റേഴ്സ്. പിന്നെ വിചാരിച്ചു വൈ നോട്ട് ഗെറ്റ് ഇൻ ടു സോപ്സ്, പിന്നെ വൈ നോട്ട് ഗോ ഓൺലൈൻ. അങ്ങനെ എല്ലാം ഇൻക്രിമെൻ്റൽ ഡെസിഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു. അല്ല ഒരു ദിവസം ഒരു പേപ്പർ എടുത്ത് എഴുതി നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തേക്കുന്നതല്ല. അപ്പോൾ ഐ വുഡ് കോൾ ഇറ്റ് ലിറ്റിൽ ബിറ്റ് ഓഫ് ലക്ക് ആൻഡ് ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് folks at the road where we take a decision and it kept going left or right, and this is where we are.
How much of your contribution is there in terms of this name called Heal?
Yeah, so this name, actually we got this name for Haeal Pharma, which is a partnership firm many years back in 2015. As Haeal, it is meant to be HEAL, but we thought let's get .com because .com was quite interesting to have and short .com was very nice. So that's why we added the word and the alphabet A extra. അതുകൊണ്ട് മാത്രം ആഡ് ചെയ്താ. പക്ഷേ I think after that it has helped us a lot because it confused a lot of people. And once probably sometimes, not always, but sometimes confusion is great for brand recall. And then we did something where the campaign was just saying let's heal. And in that period when the brand came out, a lot of people are using the word heal for other things, like let's heal from this and all that. So that's the reason how we came up with the word heal. It was meant to be a pharma company, and it was. And then we got into sanitizers, which is again preventive, and then the names kind of matched. Like heal and heal is actually post, but this is more preventive, but still this is connected.
And also, you started Heal at the peak of COVID, I should say, right? Almost, yeah, 2020.
We started, it is a COVID baby. I mean, we started before COVID.
When everybody was shutting down their business during that time,
Yeah.
you went in and you had that heap of faith and you just started this. What was your vision behind it?
We were in an industry which was positive headwinds, rather tailwinds for our business, because rather than having headwinds where everyone had headwinds. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നുകൊണ്ട് we were lucky to be in the right industry. And we thought anyway, we got lucky with kind of being in the category, let's take some risks. So that's how we went and signed up Sanju Samson, Kerala Blasters, did plastered Heal all around the city or state or whatever. So those things were some risks we've taken, but the way we looked at it is whatever revenue we were generating or whatever gross margins were there had to be allocated back into the brand is how I thought about it.
When I remember this brand as something which was there in almost all the hoardings in Cochin, at least, such beautiful posters. Was that one of your strategy, and what are the other strategies that you had when creating Heal?
So we created Heal to be, at the time, as I said, opportunistic. But after that, we thought we'll make it into an offline brand. But when we want to make it into an offline brand, we've done complete branding. By May 2021, the second wave came. So we couldn't really do too much of the offline play by being in places. So we went online. So we did a lot of online ads, which was national and not just in Kerala, which led to even having orders of 400, 500 orders on a website a day.
Okay.
Considering the newness of the brand and the minimal spend we did do a lot of spend, but still, that was significant offtake was there. So the brand was working for a lot of consumers is what we understood. So online was one big part. And offline worked a lot for us on hoardings because we were friends with the vendor. The
Okay.
vendor was a good friend of us. He's giving us good deals and it was a good credit system and all that. Then we have to take certain mediums and go disproportionate. So we did a lot of influencers at that point of time, and we did a lot of them. Then we did not do too much of print ഒന്നും ചെയ്തില്ല കാര്യമായിട്ട്. TV ഒന്നും ചെയ്തില്ല. So what we did was outdoor, and we did disproportionate. So when people see outdoor, and most people did not watch TV and all that, at least many of them don't. അപ്പോൾ അവർ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ അവർ വിചാരിച്ചു TV-യിലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവുമെന്ന് അവർ വിചാരിച്ചു. So that feel of the brand was scale figure, and we were always focusing on the brand rather than on trying to sell you a single product of the brand. So that was the first phase.
Okay.
Phase 1 and 2 was focused on getting Haeal as a brand recognized, which helped open doors.
And also, this you said about this marketing strategy, right? How important is it for you, this marketing strategy? Is that the most important strategy that you place while marketing your product?
ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാലുണ്ടല്ലോ, എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു നമ്മൾ മാർക്കറ്റിങ്ങും അതൊക്കെ പറയെങ്കിലും
It's helped you.
ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ഹെൽപ്പ്, ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ്
very
ലോട്ട് ഓഫ്
evident.
കുറേ കോമൺ സെൻസും ആണ് ഈ ഡിസിഷൻസും, കുറേ നമ്മുടെ സ്പീഡും ഉണ്ട് ഡിസിഷൻസിൽ. പക്ഷേ മോർ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ്ലി വി ഫോക്കസിങ് ഓൺ ദ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ്. പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് നല്ലതല്ലെങ്കിൽ എത്ര മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ് ചെയ്താലും ഒരു പ്രാവശ്യം മേടിച്ചിട്ട് നിർത്തും. അതിന് മോശമാണെങ്കിൽ 10 പേരോട് പറയുകയും ചെയ്യും. So we are kind of focusing on having zero error products, and we have brought a brand called Scott that we are working on. So any issues that might come, which might sound trivial, and is only happening for say 1 out of 1,000 pieces also, it's a big deal for us. When I say issues, it might be even the label coming off or the boxes being jammed or whatever. So our product ആണ് core, and marketing is again like that. Marketing ഞങ്ങൾ ലുലുവിൽ പോയി, we partnered with Lulu in terms of taking a lot of visibility there. Again, we can't be in 1,000 stores. So where we are, we partner well and made sure we are visible.
Okay.
And then Lulu is a great signal for consumers to kind of understand, because they will not take unless certain things are met. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തു മാർക്കറ്റിംഗിന് സ്ട്രാറ്റജി ആയിട്ട്. അപ്പം വാട്ട് നോട്ട് ടു ഡു ഇസ് ഓൾസോ വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്. അങ്ങനെയാണ്.
And also, you were a partner for the Kerala Blasters.
Yeah, Kerala Blasters. That was a COVID year where you did not have audience in the stadium, so it was all offline. Sorry, it was all online viewership. There was no real stadium viewership, so we couldn't do a lot of activations. But again, that was the year where everyone was afraid to spend. It was 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we just took a decision to spend. I mean, it was all ad hoc. I can come back and tell you now, in hindsight, that it was a brilliant strategy.
Okay.
It worked for us, but it was just purely random and probably something, maybe if you do a lot of analysis, you might not do it. But we got a good deal, let's just say that.
You've said it somewhere that, you failed enough to succeed. Is that something you said?
Yeah, I mean, we keep failing and some things work out well. And
So
I don't mind.
Haeal was your first entrepreneurial business? Or?
No. Haeal Pharma was in 2015. Haeal, the FMCG brand, started in 2020. But I started my business in 2007. So 2007 is when I started my pharma distribution business.
Okay.
So we started as selling nephrology medicines which is kidney transplant and dialysis medicines, to patients who were on therapy for month on month. So Adarna started the business. Then we started supplying to hospitals. Then slowly moved into selling to retail shops. Then we took warehousing. So that is where we started. So as of today, like 16 years since we started. Since I started my business.
So Haeal bottles packaging it's very beautiful. I mean, it's something that is an eye turner. So how much do you believe that, along with these marketing strategies, the packaging is also as important as that?
I think packaging and communication is extremely important. So the people who did the design for the packaging is actually from Kerala. When they are Mallus. So we've spent disproportionate amount of money compared to the size of the company on packaging, on labels, on design. And the idea was the product, though we are built in Kerala and right now we are primarily in Kerala, the product would stand on any shelf around the world. If this product stays in a Tokyo shelf or in a Sri Lankan shelf or a London shelf, it would stand. It would not look odd. So this was meant to be a universal design, probably inspired from many international brands and collage of that. So അങ്ങനെ നോക്കിയപ്പോഴത്തേക്കും ആ സ്പെൻഡിന് നമുക്ക് ഭയങ്കര ഗുണമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ വെറുതെ ഒരു ഈവൻ ഫ്രം എ ക്രിയേറ്റീവ് പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ്, ബിക്കോസ് ദിസ് ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ ബോട്ടിൽസ് ലുക്ക് റിയലി ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ, ആൻഡ് ദ ഹോർഡിങ്സ്, വെറുതെ ഒരു 100 ഹോർഡിംഗ് എടുത്തിട്ട് എന്തെങ്കിലും ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല. ഇഫ് യു ആർ സ്പെൻഡിങ് സേ 1 crore on hoardings, for example, people typically, not all, but many small companies like us would probably end up spending 1 or 2 lakhs on creative. But we might end up spending 20-25 lakhs on the whole creative process, or 30 lakhs. I mean, people spend much more on ad shoots per se, but I'm talking about static posts. So we spend that to get that 1 crore, 1.5 crore of distribution. So rather than spend only on distribution, we try to get the creatives also right. So packagingly, we had to spend a lot of money in terms of returnship and photo shoots and a lot of things. But I think that's work for us.
Your wife also has a brand.
Yeah, she has a brand, and
Sugar Boo Curls.
Sugar Boo Curls, and we kind of like encourage her to do more and more, and she's very happy with what she's doing. It's a curly hair brand,
Okay.
and she's been buying product from all around the world for many years and using it on herself. And then she realized there are one or two brands, but they're really either overpriced or not good. So combination of good and reasonably priced did not exist in the category so much.
Okay.
So she's been doing quite okay in the last 1.5 years. Unlike Heel, she is quite profitable. So even though smaller, but hopefully she'll beat us one day. And she's quite happy doing it, and me and the kids love seeing her do that.
it.
Yeah.
I see that you're connected to a lot of women entrepreneurs in between. How important it is for you to promote it, or how important, or where do you see on basis of a woman entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So I'm part of another group where I have a woman entrepreneur, and I think as part of the group, not as a business. But so I think women entrepreneurs bring a lot of perspective from what we think. I think men think definitely differently in a business perspective compared to women, especially like I would always be running short of money in terms of trying to do. I always tend to do more than what I have. Whereas Nina, my wife, Miriam, she works within budgets very well.
Very calculative.
Very, very conservative and very calculative, and still good. You can also do like that and do well. So
Okay.
I think most women are much better at finances than men. I'm for sure.
And what are some qualities that you've learned from your? You have a lot of friends in very big positions. Now you said your wife is there. You have it all around you. What are some qualities that you have really grasped from all these people around you?
Staying humble as you grow is something that you learn from a lot of people. And if you're surrounded by such people, I think it's good. And that's something that's very strong in the circle that I get to meet, and probably something unique to Kerala and some parts of South India, maybe. It's very nice.
Also, you have your friends as your investors. There are some kind of people who don't even involve their family when it comes to business. Some people, they don't like involving their family or their family members, in
Yeah, I
fact.
agree to that though.
So forget about friends.
No, I'm the friends are okay. Family is probably a little more dicier. There was some money raised from friends,
Okay.
but most of the money was put in by our own group company into it. But it's best to get it from friends who are either studied with you or very close to you, and people who can probably put more money when needed
Okay.
in the next round. So that kind of conversation I had. It is only from a handful of 8 to 10 kind of 10 friends who have put in the money,
Okay.
and they're very very close and tight friends. I keep all people kind of
Updated.
updated, and it's okay to manage.
Transparency is very important.
Transparency is important, and I've partnered with my competition. I've done lots of things like that, wherein so we're able to do stuff like that.
And also, you're an angel investor in some companies.
Yeah, a few companies, but I'm also part of the Kerala Angel Network,
Okay.
which is wherein I'm in charge of deal sourcing. So if there is a good startup, reach out to me. So with some kind of, so we look at companies which have some revenue,
Okay.
at least 10, 15 lakhs a month, and then even higher, lower, and all that. But generally in that kind of bracket, and look at funding. I think angel investing is tough to convince people who come from traditional industries because many of them fail and it is fine.
Okay.
But when you get one or two successes from as a network, then it starts to make sense. And we are trying to achieve that and have more and more companies out of Kerala invested in.
So it's mainly with the startups, or is it like traditional business also you
Illa.
invest
It is
into it?
mostly startups.
startups, okay.
Startups, but sector agnostic. It is not specific to a sector. ചിലടത്ത് ബാംഗ്ലൂരൊക്കെ പോയി കുറേ പേര് ടെക്ക് മാത്രമേ ചെയ്യുള്ളൂ. നമുക്ക് അങ്ങനെ ടെക് എന്നൊന്നുമില്ല. We like the angel network that I'm part of. They do for food. They do for they did for diapers, which is like reusable diapers for babies and adults. അങ്ങനെ പല type companies നമ്മൾ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. Personally, I've invested in a football turf earlier because of a friend, but then now we run the turf because that did not work out well. Then I've invested in a football startup again, which is called Sporthood, but as a small investor.
In Kochi?
Bangalore based, again a
Okay.
junior from Ahmedabad, Malayaliana. അവൻ്റെ കമ്പനിയിൽ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. Then few small companies, many of them have gone bust,
Okay.
but 3-4 of them have done okay.
Okay. You also mentioned that the startups can actually approach you. Are there any particular qualities or anything that you look for when you say okay to them before you say okay?
Yeah, so I'm not talking about my personal money anymore, because as a business in the stage that I'm in, I'm no longer, earlier when you're running a stabler business, it's different, but when you're running this also where you need unlimited amount of money, so to speak. Not unlimited, but decent amount of money. So I'm not in a position to take too many calls to invest, and it doesn't make sense because when you are yourself
Yeah.
in this business, so these guys are good at problem solving. We're
Okay.
looking at founders who can pivot because നമ്മൾ കാണുന്ന പോലെയല്ല എന്തെങ്കിലും ചിലപ്പോൾ പ്രോബ്ലം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ സോൾവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റണം. At least we can only
Understood.
expect ഇത് നടക്കുന്നല്ല. We cannot say that they'll definitely solve, but at least an inclination towards solving and integrity. Typically 100 startups പോകുന്നാലും ഒന്നോ രണ്ടോ അടുത്തൊക്കെ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ്മെന്റ് വെഞ്ചർ ക്യാപിറ്റൽ നടക്കുള്ളൂ. We might have slightly better hit ratio.
Any decision that has disappointed you? I mean, that you took with regards to all this?
Yeah, I think one investment where we were never asking the founder as to numbers and numbers were never shared. That was, I think, a little bit of a disappointment. Second is there was one investment where we put in some money, and then after a few months or a year or two, a friend also decided to put money.
Okay.
And when he was putting in money, he did due diligence. Then we realized when you are putting in decent amount of money, we should also spend, like I mentioned about the marketing collateral, we should also spend decent amount of money on doing due diligence, and which is something that I didn't do. So that is one thing I think we missed.
So I'll keep the serious questions aside and I'll ask you something about what you studied in IIM.
What we learned there was absolute competition
Okay.
and surviving among competition. So because everyone's been a topper all their life before they reach there, from wherever they come from, like pretty much the top of the class wherever, and then you're in a bunch of 300 students where you're graded according to how you did against the rest of the group.
Okay.
So you're bound to fail. So you fail. Most of us fail for the first time there in an academic course,
Okay.
or at least get close to failing, if not really fail. So other learning ആയിരുന്നു. And I think ability to learn things very fast. Not learn and become PhD level, but like I tell friends, able to
grasp things.
converse to PhD level people, at least at the base level. So we are forced to learn things very fast. So you do 100, 200 pages of reading every day. So അങ്ങനെ പഠിക്കും. പ്ലസ് എന്ത് പുതിയ സബ്ജക്റ്റ് വന്നാലും നമുക്ക് പഠിക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു ക്യൂരിയോസിറ്റിയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഹങ്കർ നമ്മളെ നിർത്തും. സോ ആൻഡ് യു വിൽ മീറ്റ് എക്സെപ്ഷണലി ടാലൻറ്റഡ് പീപ്പിൾ ഇൻ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് തിങ്സ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഇതും hunger to learn, I think, is something that is kind of pushed there, and hyper competition and learning to do well in hyper
So
competition.
it's just not about getting into IIM. You have to survive there, is
Getting
it?
in is quite easy in hindsight. I think surviving and doing well there. So I was also the general secretary on campus. So being the head of the student union and interacting with people and winning elections. It's a election. So if you win that election, then you get a better chance of getting a Goldman Sachs kind of internship, right? With first year, I was a PGP rep. So it's kind of your competition is voting for you in a hyper competitive environment for you to get a better job in some sense eventually. Because that also plays in.
Okay.
But the different fact that I didn't take a job. So I think that is a very interesting thing. Now the network is brilliant and you can reach out to anyone, anywhere in the world and have conversations depending on what you want to have converse on. If it's something somebody else is there, if it's operation, if it's chemistry, I know who to call because we're doing Scod liquid detergents and I want to learn a lot of chemistry. And I come from BCom and I don't know too much about chemistry. So enough people to speak to and learn. I think ആധാ നെറ്റ്വർക്കിലും അവിടെ 2 വർഷം കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടതും നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും പഠിച്ചു.
helped you.
ഞങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും പഠിച്ചു.
And I mean, after IIM, you did your internship.
No, during IIM, the internship is in between our first and second year. അപ്പോൾ 2 മാസം
okay.
I interned in Goldman Sachs in Hong Kong, and we got significant amount of internship money for us. So that is on paper that's seed capital for the business when we started. So typically the Harvard students spend all their money what they earn, which was probably $10,000-15,000 then, in that 2 months, whereas we Indians typically end up saving 90-95%. Because 5% goes to for food, right? So അങ്ങനെ ഞങ്ങൾ സേവ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും മിക്കവരും തിരിച്ചു വന്നത്. ആദ്യം സ്പെൻഡ് ചെയ്യില്ല. ഇന്ത്യൻ കൾച്ചർ തന്നെയാണത്. അപ്പം ദാറ്റ് വാസ് ദ ഫസ്റ്റ്. ആ മണി വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്ട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ബിസിനസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തത്. Then there are other things that happen where money was given by dad and all that, but I'm just saying. So that's how it started.
But what did you do right after that? After you passed out?
So right after I passed out IIM, I spent some 2 weeks in Delhi working as a consultant for free with a pharma retail chain, thinking I'm going to start a retail chain in Cochin. So then I came back to Cochin in April 2000.
After 2 months.
After 2 weeks there.
2 weeks.
There. April, May, I came back in 2007 to Cochin. The only thing I regret is I wanted to do a 1 month trip across Europe or somewhere that time. I thought, let me start the business that 1 month can't be lost and that I'll take a trip later. And that did not really happen. So, and it won't happen when you're starting up. Right? So that is one little bit of a regret I have. One that I spent 6 to 7 months working as a salesman in my store, pharmacy, MG Medicals. So I was selling medicines. I don't know what my parents thought because I was not doing anything else. I was only selling medicines and honoring prescriptions, which is fine, which is what I do even today. But that is the only thing I did. I did not.
It was your decision?
It was completely my decision.
Okay.
But one good thing that happened on campus is അന്നത്തെ വർഷം ഈ ഞങ്ങളുടെ ബാച്ചിലുണ്ടായിരുന്ന എല്ലാവരും അതിൻ്റെ അത് ഞാൻ ജനറൽ സെക്രട്ടറിയും പ്ലേസ് കോം കോർഡിനേറ്റർ ആയിരുന്ന ദേവശീഷ് Chakravarti, Barud, we call him Barud. He was an army guy. So he convinced the entire IM board, rather the board, the IM profs, to come back to campus for 2 years. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ജോലി എടുത്തില്ലാന്ന് വെച്ചു, അടുത്ത 2 വർഷം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ഫെയിൽ ആയെങ്കിൽ തിരിച്ചു പോയി അവിടെ ക്യാമ്പസ് പ്ലേസ്മെന്റിന് ഇരിക്കായിരുന്നു. അങ്ങനത്തെ റൂൾ ആ വർഷം കൊണ്ടുവന്നു. It might sound very simple now when the ecosystem is so much more evolved. അന്ന് ഒന്നും അല്ലല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ ഒന്നും ഇല്ലാത്ത സമയത്ത് അവർ ആ റൂൾ കൊണ്ടുവന്നു. അപ്പം ക്യാമ്പസിലെ പ്ലേസ്മെന്റ് ആകുമ്പോൾ എല്ലാ കമ്പനികളും അവിടെ വരും, റിക്രൂട്ടേഴ്സ് എല്ലാവരും അവിടെയാണ്. മച്ച് ഈസിയർ ടു ഗെറ്റ് എ ജോബ്. വെൻ യു ഗോ ഓഫ് ക്യാമ്പസ് ആൻഡ് ട്രൈ ടു ഗെറ്റ് എ ജോബ്, ഇറ്റ്സ് മച്ച് മോർ ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട്. സോ ദാറ്റ് വാസ് ആസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ദ ഡിഗ്രി itself is an insurance degree, but insurance rather. But the 2 years thing gave a lot of us the option to take up this. So 13 of us opted out during that year.
Okay.
And none of us for, I think, 7-8 years went back for campus. I mean, every year, different people. We only had 2 years option to go back. For the next 6-7 years, whoever opted out had this backup option, but I don't think anyone really used it. Maybe in the last 5-10 years, some people must have, but I'm saying in general, most people don't.
So you worked in the...
pharmacy, and 2007, November 14th, is when we started this Medigen. That's the name of the first company. It was a partnership, not a company. And our company, തുടങ്ങിയത്. അപ്പം ആ സ്റ്റാഫൊന്നും ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു.
You were the all in all.
Yeah, it was a startup.
Yeah, and also you mentioned that you regret not traveling to Europe. So you love traveling?
Yeah, I love traveling.
Do you travel a lot?
I think when I'm working so hard, I need these kind of breaks to kind of recharge. So these trips are excellent. Last year with friends, I went to Annapurna in Nepal, trying to climb the Himalayas. Not that I was good at it, but we did, and we got stuck and we had to be evacuated. So it was a good experience. But we keep trying to do stuff like this. And I wanted to go to 100 countries before I was 40, but looks like it'll be 50. So, but yeah.
That's still great.
It's okay.
So we're coming to the end of this, but before you go, I want to ask you, what are your plans for Haeal? Or where do you see? It's a very cliche question, I know. Many of y'all would have asked you this. But what do you see? I mean, what do you see as the future for Haeal?
Nobody has an answer for this, really. I mean, at least at our stage, like if it's a very stable business, I can give an answer for my distribution business, which is much more stabler. And even then you don't know, but still you have some plans. But here we look at it every 6 months, 1 year at a time.
Okay.
But still, the whole idea is we're looking at Scod, the detergent and cleaning products category, as becoming the major contributor, and it's already contributing quite a bit. Even the tissues we have, which is called 7Os and Adore. 7Os is our friends, and Adore is ours. But these are the products we have. So I think that hygiene category is where we're going to grow.
Okay.
And India category എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഈ detergents എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ category is much bigger than personal care. But detergent എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ detergent is 2x size ഒന്ന്. Second, എല്ലാവരും പൗഡറിൽ നിന്ന് ലിക്വിഡിലേക്ക് മാറിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സമയമാണ്. So we have been focusing on the liquid detergent space. Because പലയിടത്ത് അഡോപ്ഷൻ നടക്കുന്നേ ഉള്ളൂ. സോ യു കുഡ് ബി ദ ബ്രാൻഡ് ലീഡർ ഇൻ. സോ അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് 3 എണ്ണം ഉള്ളത്. ഒന്ന്, പ്രൈസ് ഫെയർ ആയിരിക്കണം, വിച്ച് വി ആർ വെരി കോമ്പറ്റീവ് ഓൺ പ്രൈസ്, ആൻഡ് ഷുഡ് വർക്ക് ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഷുഡ് വർക്ക് വെൽ ആൻഡ് ഷുഡ് സ്മെൽ ഗുഡ്. So these 3 things we are focusing. We are trying to take this national. And so we are trying to move out. We already got some 10-15% of our revenues coming from Tamil Nadu. Slowly we are trying to get into all the naval canteens in India, D-Mart in India. So move into say 3,000-4,000 top stores across India, and be very well entrenched in Kerala. So the idea is to stay in Kerala, but also go out of Kerala in India.
Okay.
And when we have surplus cash, go to West Kerala, which is GCC, and Dubai, and get there. But then you need a lot of capital to be there. കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അവിടെ പോകണം. പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഇല്ല. Idea is hopefully to grow this and not raise any more money ever.
Okay.
Thanks.
So all the very best for all that, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.